Hello, right, here's your next pre-teach video, although we've actually covered a lot of this and you're doing really well, but I'm still going to put it on the blog because I think it's really good to help you just recap. Now the first thing I want to look at is thinking about that equals sign again, okay? Just reminding you that equals means balance, and whatever is this side of my equals sign needs to be the same as whatever is on this side of my equals sign, because equals means balance. I think we all know that now, but just need to talk about it for just to make sure that we're 100% confident on it. So if you look over here, I've got my equals sign, and if I say 2 plus 3, well 2 plus 3 is 5, so 5 equals 5, okay? And then that's why the number sentence looks like that, okay? Equals means balance. Whatever is on one side will be on the other. So that's why whenever my equals sign is in a different place in the number sentence, it shouldn't matter as long as what's on one side is the same as what's on the other. So I might have my equals sign over here, my number sentence, and I might say, I might put the number 8 here. So 8 equals, whatever's on this side needs to get to 8, okay? So it could be 5 plus 3, or 4 plus 4, or 2 times 4. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it gets to 8, because 8 equals 8, nothing else. So just wanted to recap that. And now we're going to move on to our missing box problems, because we've been looking at this in class. And it's important that we understand the equals sign when we're solving them. So if we look up here, we've been doing this week, and we're all, after today's lesson, getting there with it. I was really impressed with you all in today's lesson. So here we have a missing box plus something equals something, okay? And we have been talking about in class, thinking of an easier problem to help us solve a more difficult problem like this, okay? So we know we're going to use our magic number sentence. And our magic number sentence is 4 plus 2 equals 6. Okay, so step one, when we're trying to figure this out, as we know, is to write down our magic number sentence on top. 4 plus 2 equals 6. Okay, we then look at our magic number sentence and make sure that it's following the same pattern as our problem. So we can see in this case it is. We've got the plus in the same place and the equal sign in the same place. Okay, so then I'm going to write it underneath. Okay, we don't need to change it because it's the same pattern. So 4 plus 2 equals 6. The next thing I do, of course, is I put a box around the part of my number sentence that's missing. This is the part of my number sentence that's missing, so I'm going to put a box around the 4. Right. The next step, as we know, is to look at the two other numbers in my number sentence and decide what can I do with those two numbers to get me to my missing box, okay, which in this case is the 4. And of course we know that we would do 6 subtract 2 to get to the 4. If you wanted to write that down to help you remember, you can just do it in brackets beside it. 6 take away 2 is 4. But if you can keep that in your head, that's fine too. So now I know, because I've got the same pattern, I know that in order to find my missing box, I follow the same pattern. So it was 6 take away 2, which means it's going to be 6,917 take away 2,034, because it's following the same pattern as my magic number sentence. So we'll quickly do that calculation. And of course, when you're doing your calculations, do it in exactly the same way as we've been practicing in class. So it's going to be 6,917 subtract 2,034. 2 lines, off we go. 7 ones take away 4 ones, leaves me with 3 ones. 110 take away 3 10s. I know I can't do that, so I take one of my 100s. I've got 800s left, and with that 100 I'm exchanging it for 10 10s. So now I've got 11 10s. 11 10s take away 3 10s, leaves me with 8 10s. 800s subtract 0 hundreds, I've still got 800s. And 6,000s take away 2,000s, I'm left with 4,000s, okay? So now I can write my complete number sentence, which is, of course, 4,883 plus 2,034 equals 6,917. And I can pop it in here as well if I wanted to. 4,883. We can see that that makes sense, okay? So I'm using my magic number sentence as a guide to to try and help me solve the more difficult problem. Let's look at another one where the missing box, where the number calculation might be slightly different. Let's have a look. So here we go. We've got another missing box problem here. We're using the same strategies to try and solve it. I'm going to write my magic number sentence on top. My magic number sentence, as you know, is 4 plus 2 equals 6. The next thing we need to check for is if our magic number sentence follows the same pattern as the problem. You can see in this case, it doesn't. This is a plus, but this is a minus. I now need to change my magic number sentence to fit the pattern in order to help me. So I'm looking at it, and I need to move it around so that I've got a subtraction sum here. So I know that if I move this around, 6 take away 4 equals 2, and that follows the pattern, or 6 take away 2 equals 4. Either of those options is fine as long as it follows the pattern. So I'm going to go for 6 subtract 4 equals 2. Okay, the next thing I do, now that I've got my pattern the same as my more difficult problem, is I put a box around the part of the number sentence that's covered. This bit's missing, so I need to put a box around my 6. I now look at my two numbers that's left in my number sentence and look at them to decide what can I do with these two numbers to get to my missing box, the 6. Well, of course, I'm going to add 4 plus 2. That means now when I look at my more difficult problem, I know exactly what to do. I'm going to add this part and this part because I know it gives me this part because I've seen it with my magic number sentence. So I'm going to add, and I can write that, remember, in brackets if you need to help you, 4 plus 2. That's what you're going to do. Now I'm going to add those two numbers. So it's 33.7 plus 9.42. Now, can everybody see what I've done wrong there? I put the 9 in the wrong place. So it's really important that when we're adding numbers, we're lining our digits up correctly. So I'm going to write that one out again. And we've got 33.7, and I'm adding to it 9 ones, so it needs to go in my ones column. Decimal points always stay in the same place. 4 tenths and 2 hundredths. My two lines, and I'm going to be adding them. Now, of course, I can put a 0 in here to help me out with my place value and putting a placeholder in. So I'm going to put 0 in the hundredths column there because there are no hundredths. So I'm just going to put a 0 in to represent that. So 0 hundredths plus 2 hundredths gives me 2 hundredths.